So I was climbing mountains, and I was told that there was a mountain named after my late father. So I organized my own team, and we made the journey. Broadly, no one walks into a country that has nothing to do with you. Stand on top of a rock and say, "This is mine, named after me." And so today, if you go to Google Earth or Google Map and you put in Ong Teng Cheong Peak, it's there. It's a recognized location now on the global map. In endurance sports, it really changes you. Everyone says, "Boon, why do you do this endurance sports?" And some people's answer would be because you can. My answer is because you come back different. It was never sort of a personal goal to want to run across the Sahara Desert or running across the North Pole or the South Pole. It was never a goal. It wasn't some child dream at 5 years old and you wake up and you go, "I want to run across the Sahara Desert. I'm going to spend the rest of my life training for this." It was never like that. Never. It was just simply me trying to get my health back in check, and by way of fitness or active lifestyle choice. And when I got to that fitness level, and it started to open up opportunities. After endurance sports, you realize you can do the difficult route, not the dumb route, the hardship route, the up climb, the uphill journey. One step at a time, and you get to the top, you go, "I made it." But looking down or coming back down, you look at it, goes, "I was up there. I made it." And it sort of changes your perspective on your ability. I think it would be tenacity, right? You're just being able to overcome things. And that's sort of the best part about it, because then you apply it to everything else in life. So I was climbing mountains, and I was told that there was a mountain named after my late father. And I went, "No." I didn't know about it. And a book was presented to me. And when that book was presented to me, I read it, and I realized that a Singapore expedition team had done this climb in the mid-2005, 2004, 2006, and they climbed it. They're very kind, and they named it their late father. Never heard of it, but guess what? Today, there's Google Map. So I keyed in that GPS coordinate, and they dropped a pin. I reached out to the original climber, David Lim, our legendary climber, and I said, "Is this the right place? I'd love to sort of go." So I organized my own team, and we went this is much later, 2015. We went to Kazakhstan, and we went and remade the journey. We re-journeyed the entire expedition. We set aside 5 days, and we said, "It's got to be pretty hard to get up there." So we made our way, and the weather was so kind. We made it to the top, and we came back down, and we said, "Okay, we have 4 days left." Finished it early, got back down, and we said, "We really have some time on our hand." And we pulled out the geographical map of Kazakhstan. It's a mountainous map. We looked around at all the summit and peaks, and we saw one on the map that had no name. So I said, "Let's go and climb that one, and let's see what it is." So we did, and we made the expedition up the next day, got to the top, came back down, and decided that maybe it would complete a love story. 情人的故事, On one side, you have late father's peak, and the other side, you have the late mother's peak. And in between, it's this glacier of ice. I mean, poetic. And of course, getting the naming right, getting it recognized, that's another journey. And that took longer than the climb. The climb took a day. But look, broadly, no one walks into a country that has nothing to do with you. Stand on top of a rock and say, "This is mine, named after me." It doesn't quite work that way. Getting Kazakhstan, the country, to agree that it be given the name Ong Teng Cheong Peak, even just that, required cajoling. And then we got the letter back from the Kazakhstan Ministry of Geography. And they said, "Okay, we'll consider, we'll have it." They said, "But the one that you want for the Mrs. Ong, no. She's only the wife. She had very little contribution." I said, "No, she was our first lady." He goes, No. And then they paused and they said, "And what you don't know is when you cross that glacier to the other side, you actually went into Kyrgyzstan." So anyway, you have to ask the Kyrgyzstan about the naming, right? Not us, because it's not even our mountain. I said, oh. So I repeated the entire application journey with the Ministry of Geography at Kyrgyzstan. And then they went, well, if Kazakhstan can give Mr. Ong Teng Cheong that name, well, we can give Mrs. Ong Tze Boon that name. So done. Both of them agreed. We have the certification from the ministry. Then with that certificate, I had to go figure out, how do I get this recognized on Atlas or Google Map or Google Earth? So I went to Google and explained it all and showed them the certificate. And so today, if you go to Google Earth or Google Map and you put in Ong Teng Cheong Peak, it's there. It's a recognized location now on the global map. And for the record, it is the only peak in the world named after someone foreign. After getting all that naming rights, I committed. So I said, climbing it is one thing. Yeah. Documenting it is one thing. Getting each country to accept, adopt, and name the peak is another thing. Getting the maps of the world to put it in there is a big exercise. So then I committed to 5 years. I ran 5 expeditions, so including the very first one and 6 expeditions in total. So yes, I am quite an expert with the mountains in Kazakh, and brought over 100 people of different climbing interest, 100 of them, a little bit more, over 5 expeditions over 5 years. I completed my expedition in 2023. So the last time I climbed it was after COVID, 2023, and then 4 years before COVID. So 2023 was my last commitment. So I've submitted Ong Teng Cheong Peak many times, Ong Tze Boon Peak many times. So I know it in and out. There is a time capsule that I put on Ong Teng Cheong Peak on the top, and there's a time capsule on top of Ong Tze Boon Peak as well. I'm sure you can't find it. Even I can't find it anymore because, you know, every winter that comes, snow dumps and everything just looks different. What used to be a rock there is now ice. So I don't know where exactly it is. And GPS has a 10-meter error. So I'm standing there, I go, it's somewhere here. But if you ever find it, I mean, let me know. And there's a message in there saying, I climbed it. There's a time capsule in there. I think you'll all enjoy it. So I did leave a little gift for whoever would make those expeditions on their own merit. I'm a calculated risk taker, but I think to be more complete, I'm not a blind risk taker. It makes you head out there and experience everything. I think the biggest calculated risk, the risk that I've taken would be business, but taking dumb, uncalculated risk is the one thing I won't do. I mean, I'd study everything. I'm happy to do anything. So if you say to me, hey, let's go to the moon, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But then there's a lot of homework behind to say, what do I have to prepare? What does it take? What kind of physical condition do I have to find myself or set myself out to be? So I think the one thing I won't do is dumb and blind risk. I'll do everything. And nothing I won't do. Ong&ong has a long legacy, transcends before my time. We do our best. People in Chinese say, 创业难,守业更难. And then they say, 富不过三代, which means first generation, yeah, you build it. Second generation, you know, develop on that. It's tough, but it ain't going to cross a third generation. And I think the functional reason to that, my reading, it's not about blood or lineage. It's about running the same business again and again and again and again without reflecting on its relevance. If you understand that, then let's play it out. Where can Ong&ong go as a legacy firm from a good architectural firm moving forward? So we grew from an architectural practice to an integrated professional service. So understanding, designing experiences. What's the next game? Next game is, where is all this digital disruptions taking the profession further? Where is it going? That needs to be done. And that would be a further legacy to, you know, the growth of 富不过三代, right? Not in terms of money, but in terms of building on Ong&ong to taking it to the next leap, the next mile. I'm not very fearful of anything, except no one wants to fail, because you know everything that comes with failing. But at the same time, I like to always encourage people, failing is a necessary sometimes step to success. So it's just the first step. But no one wants to fail, but it's not a bad thing to fail. Provided you pick yourself up, right? And nothing knocks you down. So I think the better question is, do you regret anything? I'm prepared to try and do everything. And I often say I've done wrong and I'm done bad. But any regrets? No, because it's these wrongs and the bads that mold you to doing right and good, right? What you want to take away is the good and the right need to outweigh the bad and the wrong in life. So net, you progress forward. And that's all in life. So that's just no regret. And so far as the good and right outweigh the bad and wrong. Right? We're humans. But are there regrets? I say yes. And often it's regrets of things not that you've done, but things that you didn't get to do. For example, my regret would be I didn't say to my mom I love her enough, but she's gone now. So then you live the life of regret and say, I should have been there more. That you regret. So it's not the things that you do that you regret, it's the things that you don't get to do that you regret. If you string it all up, no, not much fear, because I believe failure is necessary. Are there any regrets to all those failures? No, because they mold you. But as they mold you, you just need to make sure that the successes outweigh the failures. And try to keep your life's regrets to a minimum. Meaning, if someone says, hey, Boon, shall we go and do this? I'll say, yes. Just say yes to everything. And you live a very complete, full life of experiences